What's going on, ladies and gents? Latest episode of Being Black is Ghetto. I am your lovely host, Jay Evans, and we are bringing in a new year with my lovely co-host,
Patty J. Yeah.
All right, and the brother sitting next to her, a very, very special individual. You feel me? I have a lot of respect for this man. He does a lot outside for the community, and not only that, he's a fucking great artist. So, without further ado, introduce yourself, my boy.
Thank y'all for having me, Army Regime. Happy to be here.
Homie. Yes, sir. That's how we bring in 2025. You know the vibes, man. Anyway, so before we get to the antics, Patty, how's your lovely week?
Tiring. But I'm here. I'm alive.
Tight shit. Army, how you living over there, my boy?
Yeah, man, no complaints. Just happy to be here. Just like Patty, we alive.
I mean, bills don't stop. New Year, same shit. Know what I'm saying?
I guess so. How's your week?
I
I don't
guess
really care, but you know.
it's phenomenal. Fantastic. Can't complain. All right. Still a free man outside. That's all that matters,
The way how so many things is expensive, we gotta just be grateful to be alive at this point. We all fighting for our lives.
Listen, man, New Year means new tax season, all right?
Yeah, it's right. We right here. It's time.
That's what you gotta celebrate, all right? So before we get to the antics, so Army, where you from? Introduce the people, them. Let them know where you from, who you are, what you do.
Yeah, man. Army Regime, the artist, creative, but also social entrepreneur, executive director of Emergent Works. I'm from New York, but really Brooklyn and Queens. Those are the two boroughs that really raised me. So yeah, man, just part of the culture, part of the cloth of what New York brings to the culture. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Well, so New York's the main character. I'm gonna say it every episode. You know the
That's
vibes, man. You know the vibes.
Yeah, both New York.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I was in Manhattan until 04, and then I went to Mount Vernon. So I'll just say I'm from New York, because niggas be, you know what I mean? They be trying to hit you with you're not from the boroughs for real. I'm like, relax.
I mean, you're not, but what else you have?
All right. All right. I know she's going to be excited to talk to you because her dream is to open a nonprofit organization. So when I told her that, it's like hands in the air type shit. All right.
Yeah. Let's
So that's
talk.
why that's going to be the first topic of today. Speaking of how you got into working within a nonprofit organization.
Yeah, back in 2019, I took a coding course, and really was in a dark season of my life, like really experiencing depression, suicidal ideations, but like I just needed something to focus on, and I always knew like I could make extra income building websites for people, so I was like, let me just take this class and build this skill. I'll charge my rapper friends. I already had a list of them. I had a pitch like, yo, Jay, I could build you this website, 250, yada, yada. But what I really found was this community. And shout out to Alex Chin. She was the founder of Co-Cooperative. And it was a nonprofit, right? So I get there. It's catered food. She's handing out $80 Metro cards. Wow. And I came with a computer. She was like, nah, here's your computer. Like, take that home. You can have it. I'm like, wait,
Take that home?
A brand new Mac. Like, literally, like, just her heart alone just opened the world for me to understand what a nonprofit really does. Because I've experienced in the past, right? But not to this capacity, not to receiving. So that was my introduction, and I became the first employee, the operations manager there.
That's fire. That's super fire. So speak to the work that your nonprofit organization does.
Yeah, we're fighting mass incarceration through technical education and skills-based training and mentorship, meaning we have two programs. And they both take you through digital literacy education. They take you through coding education, UX, UI education. And for the young men that we serve in the city, we take them through digital literacy and music. Shout out to them. We just graduated them last month in December. So really grateful for them and really proud of them. But the goal is to equip anybody that has been impacted by the criminal legal system with the skills to survive and thrive in the digital age, right? We experienced the digital divide, which we saw during COVID, exasperated in our communities. How can you put Zoom in front of these parents who never even had a computer? So it's like, how do we get people the skills to thrive? We see that working from home increases productivity, increases mental health, it increases so many different things.
Yes, sir.
But a lot of us don't have the skill set to even be able to be successful in that environment yet. So it's like, we want to be the first place for people coming off the island, people coming upstate and saying, what's the tech industry? What is technology? And we got you. Our program is free. We pay you. It's learning stipend. So it's just about making sure that we pay it forward.
Yeah, this episode I'm like really passionate about because I was having a conversation with my man the other day about it, and I forgot what like call we had at work that even brought this topic up. But I was like, I don't understand when people get sent to prison, right, or jail, whatever the case may be. You get your charge. You paid your debt to society by serving your time. So why, when you come home, there's so much repercussions and so much things that you can't do because you made a mistake in your past, especially for the non-violent offenses. Because, you know, as Black Americans, that's a big thing for us. We get harsher sentences for non-violent things. So now the rest of my life, and never something I could have done at 18, 17 years old is going to be weighed upon me when I'm 45 or 50 or in any time of my adult life. It makes absolutely zero sense to me. And as we speak now, we literally have a whole felon as our president of the United States. If a president is a felon, then we should be able to have felons that are able to vote and do other things. But y'all can give y'all 2 cents and add on to it.
I definitely agree. If you made a mistake in your life, you should be able to just do your time and go about your business. They make it so hard for them. It's like you want them to suffer for the rest of their life for some mistake they might have made when they were younger. And I don't think it's right either.
Yeah, or a mistake that you didn't get caught for.
Yeah.
You know, like
That's
a lot
true.
of people, you know, a lot of these, like you can go to jail for child support, bro, and you can be an
That's
active
true.
father. Like these
That's
are
true.
real things, and I just think that this world is we have a mindset that is more punitive, right? Like you've done something wrong, you're cast out. It's very much tribal almost, right? Like we got to cast you out, but like. At what point does grace come back in? At what points do we all deserve grace? And there's a thin line because, like, guys, there's a thing called reform, there's a thing called abolition, right? And I still battle with that because some people need a place to go. I don't know if it's prison, the way that we have it structured today, but some people need a place to go, right? Like we watching people assassinate people on the streets a while back, like that stuff. You got to be mindful of that stuff. But the reality is, like, people see you and just say, "Oh, you're wrong. Your sin is bad." Right, and like realistically, no sin outweighs another. It's just to us it does, because I think the societal consequences outweigh, right? Like, so murder has such a social impact on somebody. It's not just you committed a crime, you impacted a family, you impacted a
Facts.
generation. So it's like people see that and say, now you're the worst thing ever, when in actuality, you know, so those are some of the greatest people on earth that have committed some of those bad
I definitely
decisions.
agree. And I also feel like sometimes they look at jail as like you're putting a person in timeout and you just put them in and you just walk away. You have to make them, like, reform them, like help them, make them learn from their mistakes so they could go back out there and be better. Just throwing somebody in a cell and just walking away is not helpful. They can come back out worse.
So I'm saying too, and I don't even want to jump into politics too deep, but that's a big thing. Like, once again, why Kamala kind of lost, right? A big problem with her. A lot of people said to her, like, you put a lot of people away in prison for you know, a lot of once again non-violent things. You know, marijuana was her big thing that she put a lot of people in jail for. People catch your football numbers for these kind of things. Just for you to run the president and be like, when I become president, I'm gonna legalize marijuana. All right, so what happened to all them people that's staying in jail right
Yeah.
now because of you?
Go back in and pull them out.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, bro, it don't make no sense, bro. It don't make no sense.
Yeah, the numbers is wicked though. Like, it's unacceptable. Like, it's really unacceptable. And shout out to one thing that I've really been learning in my journey is that there are people getting prisons closed. There are people that are getting people out of jail, like, in real time. Like, shout out to Dream.org, shout out to Marsha, shout out to Ruby, and like there's women on the front line really advocating to get things done and get things moved. Because if you're going to prison for 30 years for marijuana, and like, I don't get into politics. I just feel like the Democrats, again, what are you doing for the people? What are you doing to give us back power for economic mobility? That's the only question I have. And like, you legalizing marijuana, we all getting high anyway.
That part.
Like, you can get this at the store. So do not buy weed at the bodega.
Sir.
Do not do that. But yeah, just realistically, I think people was just missing the mark.
Like I said, it's a rabbit hole to jump into, but like, once again, I feel like it's a thing that the government doesn't have control over. Now that they have control over it, basically, let's arrest the people that we can't make money off of. Now that marijuana is legal, they want to put all these regulations. Kind of like getting what's the thing for alcohol? Like when you're able to sell, it's like one of those
Yeah.
things, you know. But my thing is, all this time that people have been smoking for years and years, and people have been advocating to legalize it. It's not like people want to do it illegally.
Yeah.
People be advocating for bills to get signed, you just don't want to do it because I feel like the government never found a
Listen,
way to monetize it.
The FDA and the CDC, how you think they make their bread? They can't do it off of marijuana as much. So that's why
See?
they're ready to shut it down.
I'm saying.
They only care about what
yeah.
they can make money off of.
Have those conversations about Big Pharma. That's our old boy.
Especially if it's
aight?
something that, because
Right.
marijuana is helpful to some people.
Yeah.
Like Caribbean people, boil it in tea, and they use it for medicinal purposes. You think they care about that?
That's what I'm saying, bro. And to the point that you made earlier, I want to talk about that too, because it's only an American jail system that the rehabilitation system is absolutely like messed up. Like I remember reading an article one time. It was talking about like in Sweden, there's like the amount of the criminals that go like to prison over there and come out. It was like a high rate of them like never going back to jail again. It's only here that, like you said, yeah, it really is just babysitting. Like even the concept of solitary confinement, 23-1. That doesn't sound
Sad.
crazy to somebody, bro. 4 walls, nothing but a small window for 23
I honestly
hours,
feel like
bro.
a way to reform some people too is to do maybe evaluations, figure out what the person's issue is. Sometimes it could be that a person maybe bipolar. I'm not justifying people that have committed crimes, but all the time. But if somebody could have an issue mentally, and you just don't know because you never evaluated them, you never figured out what the issue is, how it started. It could have been they had a manic episode, hurt somebody, didn't really know what they were doing, and now they're in jail, and you're sending them back out into the world without help. I think that should be something that should be implemented as well.
Yeah, we lead the world in incarceration. So, when we look at something like that, like it's not a thing of happenstance either. This is coming from slavery, literally. The prison is slavery. If you look at Angola prison right now, today, right, 2025, they have a plantation. Like how are people working on a plantation legally in 2025? But this is still a reality because my job is to dismantle a system that is putting their kids through college. Come on. Yeah, they're going to throw us scraps. Yeah, they're going to throw us bones, but they're not always going to be happy about this work, right? So, like, we saw the movement of George Floyd. Like, we saw everybody's guilt. We saw the flood of it, right? But now we're in a system of post-uprising, and now we have a president, that's spewing all of this hate and this rhetoric, and it's a different place. The money isn't flowing to social justice because a black man didn't get killed again. Right. So this is what we're looking at. And like you send people to prison, hope it's not about rehabilitation either. It's about the money. It's about the numbers, the statistics. These are private corporations that people invest in. And if we rehabilitate you, then our recidivism rate will drop. Then you can't come back. Then your son won't get familiar with this place and your son won't come. So this thing is systemic, like from slavery till now. And I'm not trying to give us a history lesson. It's just that I be trying to get black men to understand that our lifespan is 65 to 75. If you give them 25 to 35, what are we
That's
doing?
not life.
Half
That's
your
not
life in the
life.
system. Half your life.
And I think the sad thing too is that a lot of us turn our blind eye to these things that are happening because it doesn't affect us. We need to all as a people come together. Like we have to come together. That's the only way we'll go further. We have to come together.
Yeah, because people come home to our communities. They shopping at your grocery store. Their kids are going to school with your kids. And you can't treat people like outcasts. And I'm speaking for people that are actively on their healing journey. There are people that are just not ready and they will recidivate. They will reoffend. They're not there yet. They don't have the resources to support them enough to stay on the straight and narrow. We got to be honest about that. They're coming from a traumatic experience, right? So, like, shout out to the people that are coming back to the community, reintegrating, and not even doing that, just that. They're leading. Like, there's so many pillars of the community that have seen it inside of Rikers Island.
Yeah, I definitely want to re-jump on that. But I do want to ask too then, do you think we would lead the country in incarceration if all prisons were, or a lot of these prisons weren't privatized, for monetization purposes?
I think we need to invest more in psych wards, in my opinion. That's just me. Invest more in mental health. Invest more in those things, and then maybe that will make a difference. That's just how I look at it.
Yeah, I know in my job, like, even for the little things, like, y'all go to central bookings or any type of, like, precinct jail, and they'd be like, oh, all these guys just come here and they just want to go to the hospital. They're playing the game. They're playing the system. I walk in there, just piss on the floors. It's like a cell, super duper small with, like, 4 guys inside of it. I say, yo, bro, if you were sitting in there, somebody just pissed on the floor, would you want to stay here all night? Talking about we only come pick up inmates twice a day. You sitting in there, you ain't got no phone, no TV, no books, around several other men with piss on the ground. It's just inhumane conditions. And people do not understand that in regards to, like I said, jail and prison. And it's hard also having these conversations when no one has ever been through it.
And what's funny too is I dated someone that was a correctional officer, and people don't understand, correctional officers are in jail too. They get locked in too.
All day.
And he said the conditions it's in, it's like it will drive you mad. Him as an employee, it drives him crazy. So imagine what they're going through. And they can't even go home at the end of the night. Like, it's crazy.
A lot of the stories that you hear about shit that happens in jail, they be like, yo, niggas just be bored. Be bored. I'm gonna hurt somebody because I be bored. I'm gonna go crash out because I be bored because you sitting in there for mad long.
and 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 it's such a survival thing, bro. And this is what I nobody wants to have this conversation for some reason. But why wouldn't I go to jail, or why when someone that look like me go to jail, I gotta worry about you that
Tuh.
look just like me.
Oh, wait.
But why the Hispanics, they getting noodles and food and care packages, the whites are getting care packages, but us, we just want to be so. And I can't speak for. Let me just name. I've never spent time inside of a prison, right? Like I'm an advocate, right? I have been system impacted, but like I never had to spend time inside of these prisons. I've been inside of Rikers for different occasions, for different things, but the reality is like they go straight to survival mode, and now survival mode is against you because you want my shoes, or you think I'm weak, or you trying to extort me, and we gotta find a way to see the value in each other again.
Yeah.
And a lot of this stuff is spilling because of gang activity. I know we're going to talk about that. It comes from a lot of different things. But if you're in a place where people are preying on you, what do you think is going to happen? The animalistic like side of you is going to innately come out. And most of these guys just turn into presidents. I know there was a minister that you can ask my girl, like there was a minister, he only wore suits, but he was my age, we like 23, bro, right? But he only wore suits. I'm like, yo, bro, why? He's like, the cops look at me different, they treat me better. Why does it matter if the cops treat you better? Oh, because I have a record. Right, he has a record, and he said when he was inside his first week or two, he got beat on. He a big dude. He got beat on. He got not bullied in a way, but he had to do what he needed to do. And as soon as he landed in the house with his friends, oh, it's a wrap for y'all. He said when his aunt came to bail him out, he wanted to stay. He was that comfortable because he became the predator, and it's like that is a mentality that we're also releasing them into, and then releasing them back into the community and saying, now go take care of your kids. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember, Free Casanova. I used to watch his interviews all the time.
Free Cass.
And he used to talk about that shit. Like, it's kind of sad to watch, and you read the comments too, because they say, Casanova used to talk about how comfortable he was in prison all the time. He's like, I don't want to go back, but if I went back, like, I wouldn't have I just have no issues being there. And that sentence is crazy to say out loud, bro.
Crazy to say out, because where is he? And free him. Like, I got a chance to meet him in real life. Really good guys, but like at the end of the day, where is he?
So like it gets to a point where it's like it's literally all you know. Like so, some adults have spent more of their lifetime in a prison cell or in just the system in general than on the streets. It's crazy.
And I don't know if you have ever seen a movie. I wish I knew the name, but it was a movie where they had people sign up to be a part of a what do you call it, like a program to just see what will happen. They had some people act like prisoners, some people act like prisoner guards. At the end of the movie, everything was chaos. Because they were literally like fighting, like they really thought they were really a part of something like a jail. Like people's minds switched and they forgot they were in a program just trying to, do a study. And they started to actually really get in character. The people that were the correctional officers were attacking them. People that were the prisoners were attacking each other. It was crazy. Like people, like you said, it becomes like an animalistic instinct to be like, oh, I have to protect myself. I have to defend myself. Things like that. It's sad. Like,
especially for how long it takes for for a judge to see your case. Sometimes, like some people are sitting in jail for like a year or two before they even see the judge for the first time. So whatever charges you might catch prior to that is like, whose fault is this really? Because I shouldn't even have to sit here for 2 years prior to this, whatever situation I got initially booked for. So now if I catch any charge while I'm waiting on this, is what it's on me. But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to survive. Exactly. But that's the problem with the law I have, because they just look at it so black and white. There's really no gray area. They'd be like, you're not supposed to do this. They put no context as to why something happened.
They need to make some of these judges go sit in the jail cell for a little bit. Let them go sit down a little bit,
man. I've walked all through Rikers Island, man. Like, it is just the sound of the gate closing. I can still hear it. Oh,
where that came from?
But it's cold. But yeah, I can still hear the gates closing, right? And my father worked there. My father worked at Rikers for 25 years, so I got to see reports and pictures and hear the stories. I went on 3 scared streets and different things of that nature, but at the end of the day, there's no mental health support, adequate support, right? And I think that we do need to divert these funds. We do need to divert funds into pre-incarceration support. Like, we can there is a way to heal these communities. But again, we're talking about disrupting systems, y'all. Like you're talking about disrupting redlining. You're talking about disrupting, they're rolling back DEI down. Like how you rolling back? How you rolling back diversity, equity, and inclusion? Isn't that isn't that normal? Why are we still fighting Martin Luther King?
I was gonna say that after you said all you said. Yep.
They're rolling it back. Like I don't understand. Like a few months ago or something like that,
They say history.
Walmart did that,
Unfortunately,
right?
they say history repeats itself. Unfortunately,
We're still fighting systems. We fighting each other about who voted for what. But like for decades, for generations, it's always been us versus the world. So like I hope that we can really get that one day. And like
I pray for that.
yeah, because once we get that, we're really going to see the
It's
value.
that simple. We have to just come together, put our feelings aside, and come together. Literally, it's that simple.
Yeah, I seen. I'm glad y'all even said that too, because I was watching a clip of Killer Mike, and he was speaking about how when he was on the Real, the Real is super duper liberal platform.
We need to open the window.
It's a super
clap with
liberal
my hand,
platform,
man.
right?
Yeah.
And they so he was speaking. They were speaking to him. And they was like, "Oh, how could you support your the governor down there because he's a Republican?" And he's like, "Well, I'm just here to I'm here to support whoever is going to push a positive initiative for Black people." He was like, if there's a Republican governor in office, what am I going to do? Just ignore him and not say anything? I have to work with who is the top person in office. Now, if they happen to be Republican, they happen to be Democrat, I'm just going to work with whoever's in office that has the ability to make these changes. And I think that's perfectly agreeable. That's why when it comes to these elections, I don't care about Democrat or Republican. I'm here for whoever's going to help Black people, period. All right, whoever's going to help
people
the
don't think
cause.
that way. It's like a thing where I remember growing up. Like I remember middle school, classmates talking about my mom's a Republican, my mom's a Democrat, and I'm in my head like I didn't know much about it. But now that we're older, it's sad because some people may agree with the opposite end, but because I have to stick with this and I can't move from this. They think like that. Like think about the bigger picture. Who is more somebody that you can support on things that you have in mind and things like that. They're just more like I have to stick with this. I have to stick with this, and that's it.
Frown upon gang culture, but you look at politics, red and blue.
Yes,
they
it's
side
the
on
same
it just
thing.
like that.
It was done.
They
Like
really talk
everything
about it.
I feel
like-
like the government is very strategic,
Yeah, nothing.
and we fall
yeah.
in the trap all the time.
Every time we fall for the bait. Like it's so many things. The aliens and like, guys, what's happening? Like somebody tell us the truth.
I mean, I always knew aliens was real.
yeah,
Side note,
like
but
why now? Why now in this transition? During this
you know what I
election,
think
at
it
this
is?
time,
I'm a conspiracy theorist kind of person. I feel like they lost control of the aliens at some point, and now they got to say it because the aliens is like, you know what? We're gonna show our asses if y'all don't
Yeah.
tell the people who we are.
that's why they zip lining through the
Yep.
sky.
Yep.
And everybody catching it on video, and they gotta.
You know what it is?
Crazy.
It's like they probably was like, we can't control them, so we got to just tell people about it. But that's just me. I'm
No, I'm not against that. I'm not against it at all. But yeah, like it is definitely the politics of just everything has politics. So it's kind of wild, at the same time. But it got to be the policies, that bipartisan relationships. Like it got to be the Democrats and the Republicans coming together because that's how bills get passed. It's not going to be just your Democrat friend. The Democratic Party is just not going to be the Republican Party. You have to find the people to talk to be able to write these bills and get them in the right hands of the right person that will advocate for it. And that's how this thing works. It's like you can't do. I literally have learned it. I watch people do it, and it's wild to see people pass a law. Like even shout out to Reform and Meek Mill and those guys. Like, but they all of that stuff on the internet. Everybody want to move away from the fact that they did change laws. They did implement laws that benefited Black people when it comes to probation. Like we saw what happened to him. So like when it comes to that, you can't shout out to Killer Mike because that is somebody that I really respect and like somebody that is educated and from the cloth and from the culture at the same time. And it's like I want to vote for whatever's going to give Black people their power back. I want to support that. And it's just not about the president. And guys, I am not political. I don't even bother with these things. I'm just saying this because now as a father, hell nah. Because now I'm raising a Black son.
Yep.
I need to know everything. What's going on? Who's making decisions that's going to affect my son's future now? Because we're not doing this. I'm not just going to blindly make decisions or blindly vote for people on a federal, state, or local level when, I need my son to have the best experience on this planet possible.
That's
So,
true. I agree.
you know, just shy away from the political aspect a little bit. But I think it's important to have the conversations with or without the information.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I completely agree. I don't want to make this like a political podcast either, but that's why I say,
I'm sorry, this
in
fly's
your
pissing
adult
me
life,
That
to
is
be
a big ass fly too. I'm not gonna hold
to
you.
be completely naive to politics is a little crazy to me, because I'm like, yeah, these are the decision. People are making decisions for your everyday life, whether that's in your local mayor or, like I said, when it comes to your government, to state, and then obviously presidential for the country. These are things that are impacting your life, and even if it's not impacting your life directly, you just have to look at the bigger picture.
And we have to educate ourselves.
And that's
on it,
another reason
too.
why when voting, I don't know what's right or wrong for voting. I feel like some people vote for their own personal interest versus them voting because they see what's going wrong with the world, and they be like, all right, this is what I want to change. So, but all that to say this, like I said, just pay attention to politics out there, bro. No one's saying you got to be super duper informed and know every policy by the back of your hand, but you should have a general consensus as to what's going on in your state, country, and town.
And also, when somebody has an opposite view of something when it comes on to who they want to choose as a president for the future, educate them if you can, instead of arguing back and forth about how they're stupid and they don't know any better. And educate each other. Give people understanding of why you feel the way you feel in a respectful way, and that will be helpful.
Yeah, I don't understand the violent.
It's like I was
but-
tired of reading the. It's,
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot to be said. I want to double back on what you said earlier too about the George Floyd thing, because I said this on an episode before, but I want to re-bring it back because I don't know if people paid attention before. I said that chaos is needed sometimes from the black community because I feel like certain things don't happen unless you start turning up, in layman's terms, right? So much things happened prior to the George Floyd shit. Niggas kept dying. Long story short, black people kept dying. Nothing was happening. We all watched the George Floyd thing happen, and now now they felt like they had a need to do something. And realistically speaking, I tell my mans all the time, I think he only got convicted because he literally did everything wrong. If they had just a teensy-weensy window to say he was innocent, they would have taken and ran with it. They would have kicked the door open. But if you actually know police policies and things like that and what they're allowed to do and not allowed to do, he literally did every single thing wrong. There was no way to give him any type of grace, and therefore it's like they had no choice but to give him what they gave him. But also, too, I still don't feel like they would have done that if the whole world had not turned up the way they did.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it was a shift. It was a spiritual and a tangible shift for the black story, for the black community. It was. And I think a lot of us was able to take advantage of it, especially during COVID, right? Like, we were all equal. Like, we all shut down. Everyone is home. We all had to deal with our thoughts, and like, we're watching this and we're digesting this. No one could run from the tragedy that we saw, right? And like, I think that was a moment where the world was just like, enough is enough.
Exactly.
Like, this shit gotta, like, come on, y'all. Like, what are we doing? And it still hasn't stopped, right? But I think that was a time, and spiritually speaking, I think that was a time where God was like, yeah, we're going to shift something. And, you know, a lot of organizations, a lot of nonprofits got to benefit from it because money was flowing, bro. So it's like, yes, yeah, sometimes chaos has to happen because through chaos we'll find alignment.
I completely agree. But also to say that, do you feel like the world monetizes black trauma?
We 12 years of slaves. How many? What
There's
Django? I could just name slavery.
Jackson 5, that too. That
Yeah,
movie. I still can't watch them. I still haven't watched that movie.
Yeah,
I can't.
we're so used to the ghetto story. We're so used. I'm
Precious.
trying to watch Raising
The movie
Dion.
Precious,
Like, what
that
are y'all
movie
doing? Yeah, like I'm trying to, and I get it too because these are depictions. Because that would be like saying cut gangster rap or conscious rap, right? Like, nah, these are still stories that we want to see, and when like Tyler Perry does a great job at his ability to tell stories. Like, you know, I just get it. I get Second Degree because I don't watch it, but
Tyler
like,
Perry be getting me mad. I'm sorry.
yeah, but you hear the dialogue sometimes, and I'm like,
see,
I
Tyler Perry's stories be like so like, it's like.
why?
He make the black man and black woman look a little crazy. That's
with
all.
the
I'm
wig
saying.
too.
He be making him look a little
those
crazy.
stories,
Yeah,
the wigs are crazy, out of control. But we need those stories. But like, they keep exploiting it. We exploit the slavery thing. We exploit. You know, I love that they did the Wild Wild West thing over. Like, that shit is cool because we need to see ourselves. Like, Captain America now is black. Like, good. We need to see ourselves in different
Little
lights.
Mermaid.
But people eat the black trauma because these are real things. It makes people feel good about their guilt, you know, and things of that nature. So it's a wild thing.
That's why I'm like in between on it though, because like at the end of the day, like Tyler Perry, for example, it is relatable content because you watch it and you're like, yo, like I got an aunt like Medea or something like that. Like everything that you see him do, you probably know someone that has walked that walk of life. So that's why I'm like, I don't know how to feel about it because it's not like we're projecting trauma all the way because like it's not like he be telling a lie. So that's why I'm like, where do you find the line that's like, yo, like he's wilding versus like, nah, he's kind of giving a realized the black experience in America.
I don't know if I'm sensitive, but when I watch certain things and I see how people take certain concepts and joke about it and think it's funny, like the Medea thing and things like that, I honestly feel like that was a very toxic movie. That maybe I'm sensitive, but when people like the content he has to some degree, in my opinion, could come off toxic for the black community. I have not seen anything fully positive in some of his shows. It's like it's always the woman getting beat or cheated on. It's always the man doing something crazy and going to jail. It's like, how about we start making things that are more positive? Talk about, like, make a movie about black people that have businesses, black people that have nonprofits, things that are more positive that happens in the black community, because not all bad is the only thing that's happening with black people. We have great things we're doing, great things we're pushing. True. Talk about that. Let's have movies about that. Let a little black girl and a little black boy see what can happen when you go the positive route instead of the toxic route.
Yeah. Talk about representation. That is the topic that needs to be talked about. Representation within film, within media in general. Representation. Yeah. Because let them tell it, like all black women are single women. Like, no, there's very active dads. Actually, shout out you, like he said. Very active father. Black man.
Can we check in on him? See how he doing? They wildin' like we here. But I will say, shout out to Natalie Lund because she is exploiting black women's trauma.
Listen,
Baddies is the most hilarious. I watch it. I'm saying this as a black man. I watch it.
I refuse. I can't.
And y'all, I hate that show, but I am a good partner. You understand me?
Partner.
You understand? Like, but no, like that is an example that I would say like wholeheartedly. Like, I don't like that shit. And like,
it's sad,
but I get it. At the same time, I get it, and I'm not a woman, but I can understand why girls can see themselves because I'm that tough and I'm that bitch. So I can get that. I get it. So at the same time, like you, it's like there is a balance and there is a need because that is also representation. Crazy. But I'm not with that jail shit because they starting to fetishize like the jail shows, like 60 Day In and like
Love After Lockup.
Love After Lockup.
I watched that. I watched that. Love After Lockup.
When Kai did the stream of like the makeup jail shit, and I had a big thing because it was like, yo, bro, like this not something to like joke around with. And then I remember even in his case, he was like, well, I did this to show y'all that's not. Come on, I think you could have done this another way.
Love After Lockup is, in a way, it's like, it looks bad, but I also understand them showing people like what happens when you are with a person that's incarcerated. What happened? The journey you have to go on the outside and the person on the inside. I understand that, so that's why I understand the purpose of the show. But I also understand how that show can make people think like, oh, let me go find a man in jail, or let me find a woman in jail, just to fantasize about it.
You would think it would actually educate people to not do this shit, but it probably J-Pay probably be going crazy after those shows. Yeah. But shout out, like at the end of the day, I think there's always a need for balance. But some of these shows, you got to be mindful. Or like, I'm also a guy, like we analyze movies. We just smoke and analyze movies sometimes. Like, why are y'all talking to the black character like that? Or why the black character got the list or the stutter? Like, I'm just so conscious of that.
It's another show. I wish I could remember the name, but it's a show about a black family that they own real estate. They all are making a bunch of money. They all have real estate and things like that. And in the show, I was so excited to watch it because I'm like, finally, something positive. You know me. I don't like the negative stuff. So I'm like, all right, good. The show was I had to stop watching it because the whole entire show was practically about how the father had an outside child and the outside child was feeling away. And I'm like, yo, y'all not talking about the positives of this show. Y'all have real estate. Y'all have property. Y'all have land. And y'all are sitting there talking about illegitimate children.
Yeah.
Like, it's like in those shows, they have to just dissect it and show the negative.
Yeah.
And the fact that, I'm sorry, me as a black woman, if they come to me with a show and they want to dive deep into the negatives of my life, I don't want to be part of it.
Yeah.
Because why you have to do that? Why you have to then open it up to that? That's crazy.
Because they try to exploit us. They try to demasculinize man. Like, shout out Dave Chappelle. I'm not putting on no dress. And that made that man disappear for however long he had to disappear for. Like
the show Married to Medicine. I love that show. All black doctors.
Hard.
And they're fighting. Throwing shoes, throwing drinks. Your man's cheating, your man's dirty. Like, y'all are black doctors. You know how hard it is to become a doctor? How much years of school you have to be to become a doctor?
It always come with drama when it's with us. It's boring if it's not, if for some reason. They don't really want to see like the winning story, you know?
And I do want to address this because I feel like I be knowing what the comments gonna say now. I feel like I got the intuition. So before they say, oh, but you guys, glorify in rap culture shooting and all that. I've said it in the past. I'm gonna say it again. It's not glorifying when you live it. People, I feel like a lot of rappers. Obviously, there's rappers that cap. We all know that. People that never live what they rap about. But there is obviously a bunch of rappers that they're just talking their life story. It's not glorifying anything. If I literally, don't indict yourself. But if I literally did sell drugs and do all the things I'm rapping about to get to this point, I just want to share my story. I'm not glorifying it. I'm not saying that it's cool and that you should do it. I'm simply just giving my life experience.
Yeah.
So I just want to put that out there before someone hops in the comments like, yeah, rappers are always glorifying the streets and all that. It's not glorifying. We just come from inner cities that have these backgrounds, and
not
therefore
all rappers
I speak on
about
it.
that.
Yeah,
Not
in
all
fact, I don't
rappers
even like
talk about
rappers.
that. Like,
I don't even like rap like that because first of all, like the talent level, like it just don't be there for me. But it is a balance of it is a balance of people living. All right, hold on. It went from storytelling to indictment rap.
Absolutely.
That's the
Indictment
thing.
rap is
Like that's
Straight
what
telling,
happened.
yeah.
It's like it went from
Got
storytelling to straight telling. They took the story out of it, and I think that's where the younger generation really went wrong. Because there's nothing wrong. NWA did it. Like yo, look at these broken conditions that we're living in, and the government is like ruining us. Fuck the police. Like that's But these days, I feel like it's more. It feels forced, right? It feels like an identity versus like a testimony. It's like I have to talk about this. I actually have to do it so I can talk about it. You know what I mean? And like that's what I'm seeing in the young men. It's like they are just as wise as we were. They just as sharp as we were. But this time, the pressure, like I didn't have the pressure in my hand. We had to actually log on to Sconex in MySpace, right? So we didn't have the pressure right here. It was in school, which you could work your way around it a little bit. But when the internet is telling me who I need to be, the world is telling me who I need to be, my girl, my parents, and I have no idea who I am, I'm gonna just be exactly who y'all say I should be. And that's when we get into this music that I don't want to say glorified, but I think some maybe some may, because it sounds cool. Like Gunballs is hard. I love battle rap. Gunballs is hard. So it will get you. What? Them Gunballs will get your ass. But at the same time, it got to be more. And like, we don't really want the more, because if we wanted the more, then the streams will look different. But at the same time, Drake is the highest streaming artist, so we want more. So it like that's the thing that people don't understand is like, look who's selling out the tours. It's J. Cole in them.
Exactly.
It's the ones that
out of the top three artists, which is Cole, Kendrick, and Drake. Only one of them might have gang ties, which is Kendrick in a sense. Other than that,
because he grew up there, can't do nothing about it.
J. Cole,
But he's telling a story.
J. Cole went to St. John's on a scholarship. Like he is a black man that did it the right way.
And graduated.
Saying, and I was actually shout out him because he started that podcast recently that he was speaking about how much of an influence Kanye had on him, because he was like, Kanye was the epitome of showing you that like you dead could just rap about wavy-ish without and nothing like street related.
Exactly.
Kanye just literally rapped about his life on some humble shit, or however you want to put Kanye, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He just rapped about his life. Wasn't no street shit. People gravitated to it because it's real at the end of the day. I think that's what people fail to realize. Being real doesn't equate to the streets. That's why I always say being a real nigga is taking care of your family, taking care of your peoples, and making sure your situation is okay. You don't gotta sell drugs. You don't gotta shoot people. That is not the definition of a real nigga, bro. Being a real nigga is taking care of yourself and your family and everybody around you. People lose that message all the time, whether it's social media and the TV and everything else media related. Fucked up.
And I want to challenge that too a little bit, because I agree, and I want to challenge that. There's always a side that like, but this is all I know. Right? Like, as a man, like my cousins, bruh, they street guys. Like, they all street guys. Like, every part of it. They so cracked to their mothers. Like, in real life. Like, real life. They street guys for real. And, like, when we were younger, I thought their father was making oodles and noodles 12 times a day. He was cooking. I literally thought this man was making noodles all day, bro. He was cooking crack the whole time. So it was nothing but, passing that baton down, because we absorbed that information. And it's like, yes, this is what y'all told me, that this was a real nigga. So like we be failing each other because who's holding you accountable and say, Jay, you don't need to move like that. You have nothing to prove to these niggas. And they don't tell us until we 30. They don't tell you until you in jail. That shout out to the OGs that do step in. But I think that these days there is a lack of like a generation saying, yo, whoa, you're wildin'. Like just those two words. Checking a nigga, yo, you're wildin'. Right? And like because of that, we're seeing this like influx of negative music. We're seeing that, guys, Little Durk is in prison. I don't even understand. I don't even know. And I'm a supporter. But Little Durk is in prison for allegedly doing what he rapped. Right? Like,
and so unfortunate too, because Lil Durk came so far. So far. You would think that if any of this would have happened, it would have been in the beginning of his career. Like, I know we're getting old, time be flying. Dirk got 10 years in this. I don't think people be realizing that. Him, Chief Keef, everyone that we listened to freshman year of high school,
And
got
also,
10
my
pieces in
thing
here,
is,
bro.
as I'm in the mind of a rapper, I'm trying to understand. You don't got to do that anymore. When you have the fame, you have the numbers, you're making music, people are following you, having concerts. Why you don't have to do it anymore? Like, why do they still feel
But
the
it's
need
back
to
to what
keep
he said.
doing
You can
it?
take
Y'all
a man
told
out the
me-
hood, but you can't take the hood out of man.
y'all told me this is who I'm supposed to be, and I'm gonna be him. That's why we need we all are undiagnosed.
Yeah.
I feel like we're all two-faced, or the respectful term is multifaceted, right? Because we all need some that does not make sense. And none of us know. I'm not even putting that on him. I pray to God he could go home to his children.
Yeah, of course.
Right? But like at the end of the day, like if that's what do you mean I can have the world? Millions of dollars, beautiful home, family, a girl that's shooting intruders. I got it all. But I allegedly can send somebody on a hit and just throw here, just take it from me. I worked my whole life to build generational wealth, and I no longer want it because y'all niggas said I need to be tough.
You know what's sad too? I think it's like a lead of ego and pride. Like I
Yeah.
have to, like you said, when people will always put in the comments, you didn't go get back the people that allegedly did what they did to your homie. Like he probably, who know, God forbid, I hope he didn't, like you said, but you're like hyping the person up to go do something crazy for what?
You know what's crazy? Because I had that on our like main topic list because me and
Free
my
Dirk.
man was talking about it, and I'm gonna bring it up right now. My man said it best: "Pussy niggas live longer," and I say that all the time because, like I said, being tough don't lead to nothing but a jail cell or death.
You got it.
Pride run from here to Hong Kong. I say that all the time on this pod.
Yeah, you gotta
Be like,
be
yo,
on the side.
as much as people want to say I'm a D1 crash out in these comments, trust me, in real life, I'm not putting my hands on nobody. You know why? Not because I don't want to or because I'm pussy. I just know what comes with it. I don't play with them people in them jails. In New York, I say it all the time on this pod. If somebody comes and punches you in your face and you punch them back, y'all are both going to jail. You can say it's self-defense, but we are not a fighter. We are a fight or flight, you know what I mean, state, right? So if you have the ability to leave, you're supposed to just run away. Someone's supposed to punch you in your mouth. You're supposed to just look at them and run the other way. If you hit that person back, you are going to jail with that person. I'm not being tough because I'm not staying in no cell with nobody else, bro. Gangster, bro. Just saying.
No, I can respect that. I can respect that. My thing is, you got it. Like that's my thing. You got it. I don't gotta explain myself. I got a son that I need to get home to, and like also things happen, but I'm also not in environments where those that type of energy is cultivating. So like, you know, even how I move in the music scene, I'm very selective with shows. I need to know who on the lineup, and not to duck, never to duck nobody, because we catch fades. We catch fades respectfully, like gloves. We love to box. We love these healthy therapeutic practices. But the reality is, like, I'm going home to my son.
Of course.
I'm going home to my son. I don't give a fuck what none of y'all niggas is arguing about, what y'all niggas is doing. And like, I'm a lifeline to my guys that's in jail. I'm sending the JPays. I'm sending the baby love. So if I'm crashing out, if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, how can I be a resource to them? Like, it don't work like that. And that's the thing about, I know you had sent me the notes and speak about gangs and why young people gravitate towards gangs. It's because of camaraderie. It's because of brotherhood. People think that everyone wants to join a gang because of criminality. That's not the reason why. I was around them because my father kicked me out and their mother said, stay here. She picked me up from the group home where my father kicked me out. So whatever they jack, Jack. Who you fight, I'm fighting. It is what it is from here. That's my journey, right? But that's not everybody's story. Some niggas get it on, like, and free the guys, right? But it's not for everybody, bro. Like, we all have family and friends all throughout New York City that are a part of some of these organizations. But what makes him different from joining the fraternity, right? He didn't have the resource to join that fraternity, so I joined this one, right? That did not. No disrespect. I didn't have to do that type of hazing. My hazing was this. My initiation was this, right? But these guys love me. Or sometime it turns to, oh, I thought these guys love me, right? But it's that sense of brotherhood, bro. I'm going to school. I know people got my back. When I go home, they whooping my ass and abusing me. Nobody got my back. But when outside of this house, I'm a big dog. I'm a big dog in these streets because I'm a puppy in that house. You feel me? So like people, it's not about, people have this idea that people are bad people because they identify with people that chose a color or a side. Kendrick Lamar had no choice. He had no choice. You born in this project, when you step outside, you catching a fade with all of those guys. They don't like you. We're black. What do you think? What do you think races? How do they feel about us? That's my thing now. So use that influence from whatever street culture or whatever relationships I have in the street to now say, what are we doing for these young men? Like, if you already came home or you experienced this system, we've all been arrested, we've done drills, we've done these things, and now we're 30 plus trying to make sure rent is paid. What are we doing for them? You know what I mean? So, yeah.
That's what I just say. It's just people being uninformed. Like, when I read these comments and I feel like these people, in my brain, they live in the most white picket fence area you could think about. And they're like, how can you join gangs? Gangs are dumb. You shouldn't do this. I'm like, yo, like you said, some people are born into this. I'm from this project, Jack, this. If I come
And you
home,
don't have a choice
and
sometimes.
it's not even
You don't
because
have the choice.
yeah, sometimes it's not even about me having a choice. Some other people, i.e., the ops, automatically are gonna affiliate you just because you live there. Just because you live there, you have enemies somewhere else.
Yeah. And we see it and I'm speaking for New York City culture because the West can't speak on that. I'm not from there, but shout out to my guys over there. And shout out to Homeboy Industries. That's a nonprofit out west. They serve only gang members. And like, we got a chance to go. They gave us a tour, and it's amazing. I'm talking about enemies in that room together. But they there to heal. They there to get jobs. They there to get resources. And that's the stuff that nobody's really talking about. Like, and don't get me wrong. I'm a realist. Like, don't get me wrong. They are shooters. They are drillers. They people also join gangs because they want to do bad things. Like, I can't speak for them because those not the guys that I'm around. I'm around gentlemen. I'm around men that want to protect their community and may have had to make a decision that was leading towards survival. And I'm never going to put blame on anybody that had to survive to feed their family, right? But now we know better.
Yeah, so I wanted to use that to also transition into that topic as well. How important? Actually, hold on, wait. Yeah, opportunity. Basically, how important is opportunity within inner cities? I feel like to start this conversation, that obviously we just lack the resources, right? If inner cities had more opportunities, whether it's after school programs, anything to take a child from going home and indulging any type of street activity, just the importance of having opportunity within inner cities. So y'all can go.
I definitely agree. And it needs to be more free programs if there's a way to do that. Because a lot of the programs, like, I myself have the same battle where I have two daughters that want to do different things, but I have to go to outside of my community and pay a boatload of money for my daughters to be a part of those things. We need to, as a community, whoever could dance the best, start a little dance team. Whoever knows about cheerleading, start a cheer team. We all come together and just start helping each other and get our kids in something.
It's just allocation of funds, man.
Yeah, let's do it together. But everybody wants something. Nobody's going to do it just because. Everybody wants something out of it. So
that's why it gotta be us.
Yeah.
Like, it gotta be us. I'm no Dr. Umar. I'm none of these guys. And I'm not no woke guy. I'm not none. Like, I'm just a man that woke up one day and said, I have a black son. And I'm going to show up in this world with integrity and consistency. I don't care who likes me or dislikes me. I'm going to be consistent, and I'm going to do my best to be integral. And, like, that is it. Y'all hit it. I don't even have nothing to add to that because, like, if we had resources diverted to prevention, then why would we need prisons? Why is there a juvenile facility on Pickens Avenue?
But as a community, we need to create it for ourselves. They're not going to give it to us.
They're never going to give. And when we had it for ourselves, they tore it down. So, like, we have to continuously build communities inside. Like, I'm really understanding the black dollar. Like, I've really spent my money with black businesses. Like, and I love it too. Me. And I hate when a black business has poor service. Like, I hate that. And you just assume I should be spending money here because we're black, but your service is poor. Like, yeah, y'all should do a show on that.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
like
I agree.
realistically, like it is that we need to allocate funds to diversion. We need to allocate funds to post release, like that mental health aspect, the digital literacy aspect, right? Like, what is the job pipeline? And there are many nonprofits in New York City leading the charge in this. So I'm honored to be among that pool because the work is happening, right? But it isn't publicized. What's publicized is the negative. What's publicized is fear mongering.
That's why I want to take this time as well. You're the first one, but any other nonprofit that would love to come sit on this couch and talk about real conversations, because people love talking about on this podcast that we talk about a bunch of fuckery. We was talking about it prior to the pod, but we want to have real conversations. But y'all only let the fuckery go viral all the time. But that's why I try to make it balanced. We argue, I'm saying, but conversations like this need to be had because there's people like you that's actually outside doing the work, And I do want to say this also as well, just to basically wrap up a lot of the things that you spoke about. Experience is the best teacher, but it doesn't only have to be your own. I think about that clip from Wallow all the time when he says, his first day in prison, he said an old head took his transcript and he basically looked at like the whole timeline of his crime. He said, "Yo, it took you 5 minutes to lose 20 years of your life." I don't know what person needs to watch that clip out there in the world, but let that sink in. 5 minutes, a 5-minute robbery took 20 years of your life. Yeah. It's crazy, bro. Learn from other people's experiences. And every experience doesn't have to be your own, but experience is the best teacher, in my opinion. All right?
Yep.
So, anyone want to add? I just want to put that out there. Like, let me get to the last two topics too. Shout out Express Yourself Black Man podcast. I watched that was the first time I seen him on a podcast. I've watched a lot of that guy's shit, by the way. Like, especially once again, as a black man, I feel like all y'all should tap in. I'm never one to shade. I always give plugs on this podcast.
Do y'all know each other?
Nope, not at all.
Oh, y'all about to.
And also, black women, we should also watch it as well to understand a black man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they have black women on that podcast, black therapists. All. Yeah. I'm gonna make the connection. That that'll be great.
That podcast is super tough. But I want you to also expound on your mental health journey and how important you think mental health is to the black community.
Oh, very, very. And emotional intelligence comes from. I watched that shit. Y'all had my timeline jumping. I'm not even lying. I'm not lying to you. I read the comments and all of that. But my healing journey started back in 2020 to like really intentionally get out of depression. Like, I've done the therapy, I've done different things, but if you've ever experienced, I try to tell people, if you ever experienced depression, bro, it is a physical pain that you cannot describe, that you feel. It is a darkness that it is hovering over you like a weighted blanket, no matter where you are, and it physically hurts. No matter where you are, you could be smiling, you could be on stage, you could be at this podcast, but that was my experience with depression. And I'm a praying man. I believe God. I'm a follower of Christ, and I always pray. Like, we all pray to God. If you get me out of, you do this, I'll do that prayer. But I think God knows His children, and He know I was tired. He know I was ready to go. And like, He just turned things around, bro. And it started with that class because I got that job. That changed everything. And I'm saying it changed everything because a lot of my anxiety came from the lack of sustainability because I had no income. Wow. And as soon as I had a steady income, and I only had a 3-month contract at this nonprofit, but as soon as I got a steady income, I started investing in therapeutic practices. Like, what are the things that allow me to get the fuck up out of this depth that I'm in right now for these 3 months so that I can get back to being a healthier person? I'm talking about, I was toxic. If toxic was a human person, I hated everyone. I went to shows looking for fights. I wore my flag to these shows. I was looking for trouble. I'm 20, 30 people deep at shows looking for trouble because I want to hurt somebody because I'm hurting so bad and y'all are just smiling with me. Y'all are just smoking with me, right? So I needed something. I needed to focus on something. And God allowed me to, be in this position and say, hey, I need you here as a leader of this nonprofit. There was no money. I was on unemployment. Like, I'm on unemployment because the lady that hired me during COVID, mental health hits all of us and she had to step down. And now I'm here. The job is gone. She was the founder. She had the money. It's gone, so again, just trusting God, bro. I had to trust God. I had to find therapeutic practices. I believe in therapy, but I also believe that after you talk to someone, you need to apply what you've learned and practice it. Right? I think that's where we disconnect, but it's important to me to heal, bro, because I like every day I have to work at it, whether I'm working out, whether I'm praying, meditating, because it's not just for me. I gotta show up for me, but like I gotta show up for my family. I have to. Like that's what I'm choosing. You know what I mean? So it's very important. And as black men, please start the journey. It's not a destination. It's starting. It's like I don't want to be hurt by this. I want to understand why I'm reacting this way to this. And once you do that shadow work, Jay, once you do that shadow work, that's the scariest part because now you're being honest with yourself. Now you answering those questions that you will never utter out loud, but you're doing the shadow work so that you can show up as your true self and that you take control of your story. So I'm sorry to get a little passionate about it, but bruh, like when I talk about mental health, when I talk about emotional intelligence, that shit starts with healing. And once you accept that, once you take that first step, my life has never been the same. This is the best season of my life since I said, God, like I need to fix this.
You need accountability of self. That is the biggest thing, man. That's the
Be
biggest
honest
thing.
with yourself.
That's
A lot
why
of us lie to
always, for me, on this
ourselves.
platform pushing mental health is very important.
Oh yeah, how we gonna
Very
get through this?
important.
How we about to get through the next 4 years? How we about to get through? Everything is telling us that things are bad. The only way for us to really like thrive is to take care of ourselves and take care of our loved ones, and that means every day do something that you love. And I promise y'all, just one thing. Like every day I get up and hit that boxing bag, every single day. It don't matter. If I stretch the knot, I'm getting up and I'm hitting that bag. If I made the bottle, if I fed him oatmeal, if he threw up on me, if I got to change a diaper, I'm going to hit that bag because that's the one thing that will allow me to release that energy.
Yeah, and I think also in the black community, I know it kind of, like even when I told my family I was in therapy, it was kind of like, girl, something wrong with you, crazy? I think all of us need to understand that nobody's crazy if they decide to do that. Like,
Please do it. My father told me
like,
pray.
yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely necessary.
It's and I've been there before, and I understand where you're coming from as far as depression. You want to pray, but you in my depression from experience, I was mad at God.
What am I saying to you?
I was mad at him.
You
So
know
I'm
how I
like,
feel.
I'm not talking to you right now. You're letting
You know
me feel
how
this.
I feel.
So you can't tell someone to pray.
Yeah.
It's like you're pushing them off. You gotta
Yeah.
really sit down and dissect. And
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like therapy makes me want to pull my hair out sometimes. Because you, like you said, the process of having to reflect on your decision making and the things you need to work on is not easy.
Nah, it's not.
It stresses me out. But I understand. It's the end of the tunnel. It's a light there. So I'm gonna keep on going.
Yeah, you
But-
figure out like, oh shit, when I was 5, oh shit.
And I'm also
Nah.
learning how to like the actions I take now, the negative actions or the toxic things I engage in now, I could date it back to, like you said, 5, 10. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah, scary.
that's a defense mechanism. Let me pull
Yep.
back. Let me reevaluate. So
So you listen as a man. Like I said, stop letting your pride run from here to Hong Kong. All right, pride will get you hurt. Pride will put you behind bars. That's the one bar I got. And then also two, take accountability for the part that you play. And I know,
Yeah.
trust me. And very soon I will address such matters on this podcast. But take accountability in the part you play. Now, granted, some things might not be completely your fault, but you, even if it's a fraction, a very small 1/3 of that fraction was you played a part in it some way,
Yeah, take
somehow.
your L.
You just
And you don't gotta silently take your L. You know, sometimes it's loud, sometimes it's silent. Take your L, bro. You learn, and you're gonna be a danger. Yo, we're watching guys. LeBron James playing with his son. Deion's sons are going to the NFL like in a few months. Like we're watching history. We're watching men who are dangerous because they are stable mentally. They are stable emotionally. They are giving us who they actually are. And that is a dangerous black man, bro. It don't matter if you got the money or not. Like some of the bro, it's so wild because like some of my biggest inspirations are people that have done 25 years, 20 years in prison. My father did 15 years in jail for murder. So it's like these are the guys I look to because they're so poised, they so stoic, they have so much aura around them because they have sat in silo. They have sat in silence. They have sat in the belly of I cannot sit in this room for 23 hours. This is a large enough room to chill. But like being in a place of like 23 and 1 and still coming home and making something of yourself and building something of yourself. Like, we got to applaud more of that. Like, we are resilience. The Black community, we are culture, we are resilience. And like, I really just I want to see a world where we value each other that way. No more back and forth, men and women. We need each other. We hurt each other. We've wronged each other. I've harmed, you've harmed, we've done harm. Now let's heal, let's forgive. And like, and I'm not telling anybody how to live their life. Like, if somebody did you wrong, son, if you're not ready to heal, you're not ready to heal. But like, from my experience, I'm telling you, and I'm talking about in abundance, your life will change in abundance. And it's not about, and we focus a lot on money because it's a tough economy, but like, I feel like I'm so wealthy because I go home to home cooked meals every day. Like, even I work from home, so I'm coming from the next room to a home cooked meal. Like, my toddler is there. Like, what else do I want? And the bills are on auto pay. And I'm a man that had motion before, a real one, a woman, like ex narcissist, ex womanizer. So I'm saying, coming from that energy to now healing, to making sure, while I'm choosing my partner, I'm choosing my son every day. Like, that's what the healing journey is doing for me. Fuck the narratives. Fuck the Netflix narratives. Fuck the dads. Some of the greatest dads I know are felons. My whole staff, 54% of them, system impacted. Like, we hiring you. Why? Because who else going to bet on you?
That part. And we need more of that. Like I said, people that paid their debts to society need a reset button, all right? If they serve their time, let them serve them time and come back into society and just be regular working class citizens. So I don't want to dive into that because you got to wrap it up. But I just want to let that bar come out because I'm like, yo, you cannot expect people not to commit a crime again if you are not giving them the resources to not commit a crime again. Like,
It's
you can't tell.
simple
How do
math.
you expect somebody coming out of jail to not go commit a crime, but you're not giving a way to bring income to their family, for them to eat, for them to sustain, a roof over their head?
Because they want you to come back.
Make it make sense.
It's a revolving door. That's what they want.
It's
Make
up to
it
us,
make
though.
sense.
We breaking those chains, though.
Exactly.
We're going to continue
Absolutely.
to do it on a larger level. So shout out to everyone in the social justice space doing the work. Like, we see you, for real.
And we need each other.
Like I said,
Tired of saying it. We need each other.
Black people need to just put their hands in everything. Like I said, whether that's, nonprofit organizations, just trying to be the next CEO of whatever. Hell, even working in my space or being a first responder, because that's another conversation for another time. The whole, black people shouldn't be cops. How you expect cops to change? Or why you don't want to police the communities that you're from? So then you get mad that you feel like there's racist white cops in your town, but guess what? None of y'all apply to this place, and none of y'all really so therefore you have these people that are not from where you from policing your neighborhoods. I'm saying, just such a grand topic to talk about.
Nah, it's a lot.
Such a grand topic.
We
to
got
talk
a
about.
lot to unpack as a
I'm
black
saying,
community,
like,
but
so much.
what y'all are doing is providing a step for the convo. And I
Yes.
think this convo is just as important, because no matter who leaving comments on your page, they taking time to write these thesis statements in your comments, and that matters. You're actually provoking thought, and that conversation that could turn into action that y'all will never know about. But you never know the seed y'all honest dialogue is having and impacting somebody's lives. It could be arguing online, but in real life, someone could sit back and say, well, nah, I think I need to change here because I see myself in Jay. I see it was a lot of you, bro. I'm sorry, engineer.
But yeah, anything you want to promote before we get out of here?
Emergentworks.org. We're a nonprofit. Please donate. We just want to show up for the community, and I have music online. Army Regime on all platforms. We Gotta Talk. Khalil 2 Still Healing, and shout out to Being Black is Ghetto. Like, I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to see great quality, great conversation, and keep mixing it up. Have your balance. Talk your shit, because like it's y'all shit.
Feel me. Ain't much else to say, man. I'm gonna put the extra stamp. Really go listen to his music. Like, I know I'm a biased nigga. When I bring rappers here, it be the rappers. All right. I don't bring rappers that all right. We don't do the mumbo gumbo. Make sure if you a bar nigga, go listen to my mans. All right.
Yeah,
go listen to my mans. No cap. But anyway. Latest episode of Being Black is Ghetto. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the lovely notification bell so you don't miss any of our lovely drops. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram at Being Black is Ghetto. You know the vibes. By the time this come out, we should be at like 10K on Instagram. So I'll clap it up for now. Speak it into fruition. Anyway, it's your lovely host, Jay Az, Patty J, Army, signing out.
And we're out.